Hi everyone, so today we're talking about presbyopia. Presbyopia is the eye condition in which the accommodation is completely lost. And what part of the eye does accommodation? What do you think? It is lens. So what are lens exactly? Lens are basically strong elastic capsule filled with viscous, proteinaceous, but transparent fluid. So what exactly it is? It's a strong elastic capsule that is filled with viscous and at the same time proteinaceous. So these are the proteins, but transparent fluid. So that's what lens consists of. So as a person ages, these proteins they start getting denatured. And when the proteins get denatured, the lens that were once thin and that were once flexible during young age, they start becoming thickened and they start becoming less flexible. That means they start becoming rigid and also larger. And also another reason why the lens become non-accommodating is because the lens start growing numerous layers. So because of those layers, the old people they're unable to accommodate their lens. So in presbyopia, what happens is that accommodation of lens is completely lost. And normally, the power of accommodation is 14 diopters in children, but by the age of 40, what happens is that this comes down to 2. And as a person crosses around 70 years of age, this value falls to 0 so that they cannot at all accommodate. So this is basically an age related disorder. As a person ages, the lens they stop accommodating. So if a person is looking at a distant object and he wants to shift that and start looking at a closer object, let's suppose reading a book, he won't be able to do that. So accommodation is lost, and very importantly, the most important thing is that he'll be unable to focus on nearby objects. So whenever you're mentioning presbyopia, the first thing you have to mention is the loss of accommodation, and the next thing you have to mention is basically the inability to see or focus on the nearby objects. So that's the very reason if you see any person and especially an old person that they're not able to read the book and they are keeping the book at an arm's length in order to be able to read it. So that means there are high chances that that person is suffering from presbyopia. So yeah, once again, loss of accommodation, and the second thing is unable to focus on nearby objects. It's a natural, often annoying part of aging. Presbyopia usually becomes noticeable in early to mid 40s because in mid 40s, the accommodation power starts falling to 2 diopters and it continues to worsen until the age of 65 to 70 when the accommodation power ultimately drops to 0. And yeah, so once a person has reached the state of presbyopia, each eye remains focused permanently at an almost constant distance. That person won't be able to look at a close by or nearby object. He'll just be able to accommodate his eyes, not accommodate, he won't be able to accommodate at all, but he'll be able to focus at a distant object only, not nearby object. You may become aware of presbyopia when you start holding books and newspapers at an arm's length. And for this, obviously, there is a basic eye exam that confirms this condition. And presbyopia is caused by hardening of the lens of the eyes, which occurs with aging. So it's a natural aging process. And yes, it's pathological. Lens become less flexible and they can no longer change the shape to focus on close-up images. So that's the thing. Lens change the shape. That's why we are able to accommodate. So lens, when they've become thickened, they've become rigid and harder and larger as well at the same time. So they won't be able to accommodate. Now there's one thing, a common exam question is the clinical features of presbyopia. So in that, it's very important for you to mention difficulty in near vision or difficulty in focusing on nearby objects. That's first thing. Then you can say holding reading material further away at least an arm's length. There's eye strain, frontal headache, blurred near vision. So basically the same thing is written in 3 different ways. Need for brighter illumination while reading, and symptoms worsen in dim light or fatigue, and there's gradual onset for after 40 to 50 years of age. So very important, near point of accommodation is receded.